Good evening. Good evening, good people. Good evening. I'm here. I am here. This is episode 5 of the 6-part series. Y'all, we are doing it. We are doing it regardless. We are doing it tired. We are doing it at the end of the day. We're doing it after we finish the chores. We're doing it after we do the homework. After we journey had the 2 apples. We are doing it. You hear me? And I'm proud of you and I'm proud of me. And I am just so happy for what is to come. And I'm so happy, even if it's not like, I made a post about I'm not trying to be famous. I'm just talking about real life with real life people. Okay. I gotta give my little spiel. You've just stepped into the kingdom of truth. Raw, unfiltered, unapologetically black. Welcome to the Unknown Empress podcast, where we break the silence around parenting, sex, survival, and soul work in our communities. I'm your host, the Unknown Empress herself, Coletta, a mother, truth teller, and a mirror of all things that we don't talk about around the kitchen table, but should. No scripts, no sugar, just real stories, real struggle, and real strategy for raising them and healing us. So let's rein in on the chaos and rise in our truth. I'm so proud of us. I am so proud. First, let me apologize for last week. I need to redeem myself because a sister was tired, okay? But I am a woman of my word, and what I say I'm going to do, I'm going to do. And so I tried to deliver the best I had in me. And that goes back to our topic, the parenting series. Parenting is not like we go to our job 8 to 5. Parents is not an 8 to 5. Ain't no paid vacations, ain't no holidays, ain't no overtime work, none of that. None of that. Parenting is showing up for your kids in whichever way you can, the best way you can, the most healthy way you can, the most healthy way possible. Parenting is just doing your best at all times, at all costs, and giving your kids the best that you have, but also healing the traumas and underlining the uncertainties that we had growing up as children, because it's the Parenting Us series. And this series was important to me because we have to parent in a way that is different from the way we were parented. We had to enforce discipline in a different way that we were disciplined. We have to show love in a way that is best for the kids that we're raising. And sometimes that looks differently from how you were raised and what your parents instilled in you, whether it was your mom and dad or your grandparents, or if older siblings were in the picture, or whatever that might look like. We have to do it differently if we want to make a significant impact in our kids' lives. If we want to open up doors that our parents could barely even reach, we have to do things differently. And that means parenting our children in a different way that we were parented. And it means reaching our children in whatever way that may be. And it might be a controversial way, or it might be a way that our parents are like, I know you ain't gonna let them kids. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Period. Because we don't owe anybody an explanation. Only people that we owe anything to is our kids, because they are minors, they are innocent, and they're looking to mom. They're looking for you. They're looking for that rich auntie. They're looking for that supportive uncle. They're looking for that down to earth mom. They're looking for that never gonna give up dad. This is for us. These episodes, it's for us. It's for us, tired, broken, whatever we are. It's for us to acknowledge that it's okay. It's okay to show up as yourself. It's okay to say, you know what? I'm sad, and guess what? This is all we got. Okay? This is all we got. Um, I'm just excited, y'all. I am. I'm so excited for what's to come. And we just moving right on along. We are moving right on along. And I'm gonna join this live so I can see the comments. And I just want to shout out my girl Wendy, Wendy Miller Sanders. You the goat. Every time I every time I take a hiatus or a break, or just be like, maybe this ain't for me. Maybe I need to stop, or not even maybe I need to stop. Just anytime I have a moment of self sabotage, I'm gonna call it what it is, right? Anytime I ever have a moment of self sabotage, God always finds a way to send somebody to inquire about, hey girl, hey, what you doing? You see it coming? What you got going on? I sure missed this. This was really good. I really enjoyed that. Or somebody come back and click on a comment, or come back and send me a message, or I mean, it might be one person, or it might just be a flashback or a memory or something that'll come up to let me know like this is my purpose. And that's why I say I ain't trying to go famous, because I don't want to confuse, fame with destiny, and with I don't want to confuse fame with purpose, right? Because what I'm doing is not to say, oh, I'm better than all the other mamas out there in the world. I know everything and I got my little mama degree. No, it ain't to say that. It's to say, shit, we trying to. We all out here trying. We all out here trying to do the right thing, trying to be a better person, trying to be a better friend, better wife, support our friends, be better mothers and daughters. And we need to connect in this world. We got a lot of negativity, we got a lot of animosity, we got a lot of ugly stuff going on in politics. And so we have all of that there. It's present, right? It's a lot of foolishness on social media. People getting rich and famous off a lot of stuff that is way less important than what I'm doing. But I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing it because I need to connect with y'all. Y'all need to connect with me. And it gives me purpose and passion to help people. And I always believe that, people listen to me and I have a voice. And it's because I have a destiny and because I have a gift and I cannot sit on my gift. So that's why we here again tonight. And I'm so glad y'all here with me. So, um, today's episode is Black in the Classroom. They see me talking, doing all this. Talking to my executive producer, y'all. I'm just a mama. Okay. One of my students said, I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl. So I'm gonna say, I'm just a mama, okay? I'm just a mama out here trying to be my best self. Um, so yes, I can do that though. I can do that. All right, so today's episode is Black in the Classroom. And I felt like this was a good episode. I felt like this was a good subject to talk about. I came up with the 6-part series and I came up with like 6 topics. And I was like, you know what? I can talk. I can talk about anything. I can talk about anything. But most importantly, I can talk about being a mom. I could be very passionate about my role in motherhood and share the journey with y'all because I know y'all out there living it. Y'all out there being moms and dads and doing y'all thing and showing up. Shout out to Wendy. Thank you, girl. She was like, I thought you was going live. I thought you was gonna get on tonight. I'm like, girl, I had to comb some hair right quick. Cause these kids been on holiday. We had virtual learning day today, and I ain't had virtual work day. I still had to take my black tail to work and get home, and I had an event, and I just be doing stuff, but I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still a woman of my word, and I appreciate all my listeners. I appreciate each and every last one of y'all. I don't care if it's two. Y'all the baddest too. Y'all the baddest too. So, black in the classroom. What does that mean? All things black, right? It's talking about our representation of our black teachers. It's is our kids, is the struggles that they face every day, Black in the classroom is showing up black and leaving black and not being offended while you're being black and still being able to learn and gather what you need from these schools and realizing that things may be different for you as a student and as a mom, but school is very important and it's a top part of our priority. And I just want to talk about it. I just want to talk about it in a way that shines light on some of our discrepancies and shine light on some of our struggles, but also congratulating all our black teachers from the cafeteria, the custodians, to the teachers, the support staff, the principals, the school bus drivers. It all matters. It's all important. It all has a significant role in our kids, all the way to higher ed. You know, in the way that I show up for my students, it's important that I tell them. I say, when you come into my office and you come into my space, this is a safe space, and you can come as yourself. You can come and be who you need to be: vulnerable, broken, tired, confused, um, angry, whatever it is. You can come into my space and be yourself and be authentically true to who you are. Now, when you go outside in the world and you show up on your job and you show up in your classes and you show up in interviews and you show up at scholarship opportunities, that's when you need to be perfect. That's when you need to be polished. That's when the world is looking for you to mess up and drop the ball and fumble. And on those moments, you need to show up authentically perfect, right? Don't change who you are, but just show the best version of you. But when you come into my office and you come talk to me, you talk to me as yourself, your true self. And one student, he was like, "So I can cuss," and and I was like, "If you need to cuss to express yourself, you can." He was like, "So I can say this some bullshit." And I was like, "Yeah, you an adult. You a young adult, and I'm gonna respect you in the way that you talk, as long as you respect me and the way that I talk." So when I tell you to get your ass over here, just do it and come on, and we're gonna keep on rolling because I mean you where you are, right? And this what tonight's episode is all about. It's talking about being black in the classroom. It's talking about showing up for our kids. So representation, or the lack thereof. I want to give a shout out to. I grew up in Mitchell County school system. Shout out to the Eagles. And um we I can't recall it being like a lot of black teachers. It was some, it was some. You had, you know, but it was still a bit white. Um it was still I'm gonna say it was a mix. I'm gonna say that it was a mix. But moving to present day, and I see um, Mitchell County School System did a reel on Facebook, and I seen so many black teachers, and I was like, it made me feel so warm on the inside to see like people that I graduated with, people younger than me, people older than me, just like our community coming together to teach our kids, and that like warmed my heart because I really wish like majority of my teachers were black. We had some black teachers, but it wasn't like, to me it wasn't like an overpowering thing of that over representation. Like I see that now that they are very represented no matter what. Like you got black across the board, you know what I mean? And you got to me that means you got support across the board because they were once fifth graders, or they were once kindergartners, or they may very well know the school system, or they may very well know what the school system lack, and they can incorporate what the kids really really need versus just making sure we follow the curriculum, because that's important too. Like you can follow the curriculum as a teacher, and no doubt can I speak on teachers because I'm not one, and I don't proclaim to know the struggles, and maybe we'll have to have some teachers drop a comment drop a comment below if you're a teacher and you want to come on the Unknown Empress podcast and you want to talk about y'all struggles, because I can't talk about that. But what I'm saying is, I am so glad that we see a black representation of our school, more representation of our people in school systems and in the school. teaching our babies and supporting our babies, even as support staff, because that's important. Hmm? Do I sound okay, you guys? Okay. Um. So that's that. Here's a statistic. Research shows black teachers improve academic outcomes and lower discipline rates for black students. Um. And also, black teachers face a higher burnout. I don't know. I need a teacher to say yay or nay to that. I don't know. If you're a teacher, let me know. Do you face a higher rate of burnout versus your colleagues? I don't know. I can't say. I can't speak on that. But I'm so glad to see that we do have a representation of teachers because we need that. That's important. Kids need to go to math class and see somebody look like them. They need to go to science class and see somebody teaching science just like them. That somebody look like their uncle that's up there teaching language arts and ELA. That their principal is another black lady that reminds them of somebody that they know in their family. And that, I just feel like it's just a little bit of compassion and a little bit of gentleness that's gonna come behind that, a little bit more support because you're gonna understand where that kid come from. You're gonna understand some of the cultural things that might be going on with that kid. You're gonna be able to address some things that somebody else might overlook or somebody else might see as a behavior issue, but you're gonna be able to see it. Wendy, okay, we're gonna have to get you on the unknown Empress episode to talk about. Now she said she a parent and she a bus driver now. I already know. Listen, I gotta put my oldest business out there. She said she had a bus driver, Mr. Allen. And she had Mr. Allen bus rocking. It was the number one bus. So when do you have to talk about what it is about being a bus driver? Because those kids, I know when they come home from school, they be on 100, especially high schoolers. So you're gonna have to give us your approach on that. Moving on. Um, the next thing is school safety. I know they do a lot of drills, fire drills, and tornado drill. We did tornado drill. We had to get in the hallway and cover our heads against the lockers. That's about the only thing I really remember, like fire drill and tornado drills. That's the only like drills I really really remember. And I could be wrong, y'all. Don't trust my memory, but they have so many different drills now. They got cold yellow and red and green and about 1,800 drills. I know in this school district they do, and it's all about safety. It is normal. Hear me when I say this. It is normal for our children to see military, police, to have helicopters flying over their school, to have the local police and uh, state officials, police walking through their schools with AR-15s, walking through their schools with loaded guns. That was not the norm for me. That was like what's going on for me. But now our kids, with the amount of violence, increased violence that's going on, I I went and picked up my kid from school, and it was a safety drill. I don't know if it was real or not, but some kind of threat happened, and they was sending all the kids, and they was upset that the kids was calling their parents, telling their parents that something was going on at the school. But then they sending you pictures of school officials and police walking through with guns because it's a risk. Mimi, hey girl, hey, she said it is possible to experience burnout because we want our kids to thrive and be their best, and we pour into them and give them all that we have. Amen to that. To let them know that they can be successful if they want it. Amen to that. Amen to that. That is so true. That is so true. And and you can feel burnout from that because that's a lot. Like it's a lot. You do more than teaching, right? You got to show up for them. They got no lunch. They don't have no this. They don't have that. All of the issues that's going on at home. You try to be present for them and that. And I'm not a teacher, but I'm in higher ed where I'm dealing with young adults, and I literally some days talk from the time I come to work to the time I leave, and sometimes they walk me out the door because kids just have issues and they need somebody to talk to, and they want somebody to talk to. They want somebody to, when they find that you care, They gonna be there. Yes, yes. And I find myself saying, "All right, baby, take care. All right, baby, have a good one. I love you. See you later." You know, all that kind of stuff because you end up caring about them so much, and you do want the best for them. It's like it's a real thing. It's a real thing, and not saying that our other colleagues don't feel the same way, but it's a greater reward and it's a greater duty on black support staff, black teachers, black educators to want the best for these kids and to make sure that they do have what they need. And amen. Amen. It's a job that we ain't know we was getting into. I know I did. Did y'all know y'all was getting into this? Whatever we need, I try to be there. Amen, Mimi. It could be a lot. It could be a lot. All right. So we talking about over policing in schools right now. We talking about safety. Um so this I don't agree with this, but this I have a few statistics so to keep me on point. But it says discussion around school shootings often center suburban white schools while ignoring daily violence that urban black and brown students experience. I don't think that got shit to do with shit. Okay, I feel like violence in urban communities, I don't feel like that overshadows or undershadows school shootings in white suburbia. And I hate how and it, like y'all this the world, this statistics, and somebody put the statistics out there. Somebody got to put this stuff out there. But I feel like school shootings and white suburban is its own category. We don't have to throw urban communities in to discuss anything about suburban white school shootings. We don't have to throw that up. That don't even correlate. But of course, we have to be our own voices. We have to be the voice for our kids. We have to be the voice for our community. So I'm on here on this platform talking about this, but I don't feel like one has to do anything with the other. I feel like school shootings, that's not a black thing. And I feel like violence in urban communities don't got nothing to do with school shootings. Like I don't feel like those two correlate. Um, it's a lot of violence in the world. We ain't talking about that. We ain't talking about political violence. We ain't talking about voter suppression and how that can be. We ain't talking about redlining and red taping and stuff like that. So I feel like we talk about what we want to talk about. We talk about urban communities. I grew up in an urban community. I can't say it was too much violence in Camilla. It probably was, but I don't recall growing up that was the issue. Anybody from Camilla no, like everybody in pretty much small towns and small communities, they support each other. Like you stay in your area, we lived in the country, you lived in the city, y'all lived on that side of town. Everybody protected each other's stuff, everybody watched out for each other's stuff, everybody watched out for each other's kids. And that was an urban community. And I can't ever recall like it was a bunch of violence, growing up. So I mean, I think that's just one thing that doesn't correlate with the other. So we can talk about that. What I don't um agree with is I see that some counties are doing a no phone policy in the schools. And how do teachers feel about the no phone policy? How do the students feel about the no phone policy? How do parents feel about the no phone policy? I know phones can be a big distraction in the schools, and it's probably more of a distraction than a safety measure reason why they're wanting to take the phones. But I still feel like it still need to be another line of communication because it's the school system, not necessarily the teachers, but the people who make the rules, the lawmakers, they don't have a grip on safety when it come to these school shootings. And I feel like if they don't have a phone, a lot of times we'll see that the cell phones is the reason why the school shooting didn't be as catastrophic as it was because the kids are calling for help and more communication are getting out and kids are being able to share on social media what's going on. And I feel like that has stopped it from being such a big deal. But I guess from a teacher's perspective or from a lawmaker's perspective, that it can be more of a hindrance than anything. But I don't know. I'm kind of tossed up with that because I'm a parent that I will send my kid a reel during the day. I don't expect her to watch it, but I do send them like sometimes I see them and it be funny. And I might say, I don't expect you to be sitting in your classroom, watching reels, but I know that it can be a distraction if her phone go off and she actually stops and look at it. Then yeah, that's taken away from class time. But I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence with that because I feel like we got to teach our kids. Like it's when you're at school, the importance of what you're doing and how important it is to pay attention and your grades and all of that good stuff. But at the same time, like, is it that big of a deal? Well, no, I don't know. They don't need their phones as long as it's not. They don't need their phones as long as it's not doing instruction time. Okay, that's a good point. Instruction time, yeah, that's a good point. And I'm not in the school, so I don't know. I really can't say yay or nay to the phones. I feel like it's up to the discretion of teachers. I did see one teacher, she had put like a little lock box where when the kids come in, they put their phone in their little slots or whatever, and she lock it and she hold on to the phones, and then at the end of class, like they get their phones back. I think that's good too. I think. Listen, teachers, y'all have to do too much. Y'all gotta be creative. Y'all gotta teach. Y'all gotta parent. Y'all gotta wipe nose. Y'all gotta do a lot of stuff. It's a lot. And listen, I am not want to be like teachers need to do this. Teachers need to no, because there's a lot of stuff that parents need to do at home as well. And we could point fingers at each other, but what we really need to do is come together and support these kids. That's the bottom line. We got to come together. We got to teach them when they wrong. When they wrong, and call them out on their stuff. And when they right, support them and congratulate them at the same time. So it's a double edged. Excuse me, it's a double edged sword with that. Y'all doing good tonight? Hey, Gail. She said, "Hey, girl, hey, that's another one that'll be like, I thought you said you was gonna go live again." But let me say it's a huge distraction, but I do feel like on break it should be okay for good behavior. I would give my kids earn free time on their devices, and it helps curb some of the okay. It helps curb some of the behavior issues. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. And I get them something to look forward to. Like if I finish or if I'm good, that's what I'm gonna get. Like you know, I think kids definitely need that because we ain't expecting them to be adults, right? We're expecting them to at their age, and we're expecting them to be in moderation with everything they doing, making sure that they listening to that teacher. Because I don't listen. I'm not one of them parents that will come up there and be like, "Oh, you can't say that." We got a lot of that going on. My child this and my child that, and then my child got a D. Mm-mm. I ain't, that's not me. I'm not her. I do feel like the teacher is the one in charge, definitely, and I feel like parents gotta honor and respect their kids' teachers, and we don't really have a lot of that right now. And listen, these teachers are raising the next lawyers, doctors, presidents. We hear that all the time, but let that really sink in. Like these teachers are raising the next set of lawmakers, right? They're raising the next set of judges and politicians and nurses and all of that good stuff. So they definitely got to get the respect that they earn, and they got to get it from the parents first because these are our kids. Like we're not teaching them. How many parents gonna be like, "Oh, I'm a homeschool my kids." Can't do it because Jenna had two apples, okay, and my patience ain't long enough. So I respect the parents. That's right. When we gotta respect the teachers, we gotta respect the school staff, like all of them, all of them. We have to respect all of them, and I think it comes from the parents first. Like when we send our kids to school, we got to send them to school knowing that you got to respect your teacher. If your teacher's saying X, Y, Z, I always tell my kids like, the teacher gonna tell me a side of the story. You gonna tell me a side of the story, and then I'm gonna figure out what the truth what the truth is, And I always say, why your teacher gonna lie? Like what she gonna gain by lying on you? And very well anybody could lie. We all human, things happen, but I always use a gauge of discretion. Like you gotta kind of use a little bit of discretion as a parent. But then you also, if you raising them right and you teaching them like, listen, this is what we gonna do and this is what we ain't gonna do. And I tell my child, don't give them no option to call your name about nothing. Don't give them the option to say, oh, such and such did or didn't do. And that with that missing work, do it before we even get missing. turn it in. And that way you don't have no error. You don't have no room for error. It's really important. It's really important. All right. So we're gonna roll on. What we got now? How we doing on time, sir? We all right? I got a thumbs up. Okay. I'm having fun, y'all. I'm definitely I'm definitely redeeming myself from last week because I don't think I had much of Nathan in me. So lack of resources and inequality. Schools in predominantly black and minority neighborhoods receive fewer resources due to funding systems tied to property taxes. This leads to outdated textbooks, limited access to advanced placement courses, fewer extracurricular activities, and lower quality facilities. Students are often blamed for underperforming without addressing the systematic inequalities built into their learning environments. You know why? They don't want to address the systematic inequalities built into their learning environments because they don't care. This is what I try to get my kids to understand. Our government and the powers that be at this particular time do not care about educating the poor. They do not care about educating the underrepresented. That's why DEI and all of that stuff is being attacked, and all these federally funded funds and all these federally funded programs that are and hope and student loans. Now I'm gonna tell you that thing about that student loan. You don't want people to get student loans. Don't want my money back. Okay. Don't look for my money. Navi and Sally Mae and all of y'all. Just like y'all trying to take away them student loans, take away that bill I owe you. Okay? Take that right on with it because I don't have it. Ain't gonna never have it. But the government is trying to attack these things because they want the poor to stay poor. They want the rich to stay rich. They want to continue on um, building up their empire and their agendas. And, we talked about all these project and initiatives that this government is putting in place. And by no means am I a political head, and I'm not following up on that because I got time, okay? Because I'm trying to raise my kids, I'm trying to be a wife, I'm trying to do a lot of stuff. So I got time to follow this stuff because they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Yes, they are. But I'm still gonna exercise my voice. I'm still gonna do my passion. I'm still gonna get on this podcast and talk to y'all, and we're gonna raise an uproar in some kind of way, shape, or form. Okay. I'm with you, Gail. I forgave myself. Because I don't know how much it is, and nor do I care. I don't try to find it. Mimi, yes, that part. I ain't, mm-mm. You want to take it away? Go ahead. Take it away and take away that bill. All of it. And, I just feel like you can't do one without the other. Like, we don't have it. And if we do, we ain't trying to get it, y'all. Sure. What they say? What the hell? All right, I'm getting serious because my producer like stay on track. We having fun. All right, we having fun, y'all. I'm so glad to be here. All right, so um, I guess I left my brother. I will never have, will never have a baby. Take that to God, please, please. Please and thank you. All right, discipline in the school to prison pipeline, and that was a big thing. I don't know if it's still a big thing, but I like to watch a lot of true crime, and I like to watch a lot of prison shows. I like to watch a lot of shows about young people in jail and being incarcerated and what that looks like. And um, lately I've been watching what's it called? My roommate, basically when people get out of jail and they move in with other people and how that look and crazy foolishness. But I'm very, fascinated with that. I'm fascinated with how it happens because everybody has a story, right? And you just don't wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm finna kill somebody. Like it doesn't happen that way. And I feel like I'm so I'm so nosy for one, but I'm so like into people and their story, how this relate to school. I'm gonna bring it all. I'm gonna wrap it all up. I'm gonna wrap it up. Follow me. Um, how does this relate? And a lot of times when I'm watching these shows and they doing interviews with like murderers and like hard criminals and people who've done like some very heinous things in life, they always ask them about their childhood, and they always ask them about did they have their parents in their lives and were they supported and what was growing up like. And this all goes back to, well, were they supported, right? Did they have the support that they need in the household? Did they have the support that they need in school? Was school a routine? Was it part of their life? Was it mandatory? And a lot of times you'll find in these shows that they're not supported. Maybe their parents were, on drugs, or maybe their parents were out of their lives. Maybe they was in foster care, or maybe they had some abuse, or maybe they had their own trauma that they were going through and processing as a kid. That matters. And so when we talk about the school to prison pipeline, it happens when a piece of that chain is broken and the kid is unable to be a kid. The kid has to grow up quickly, or the kid has to learn things on the hard way. The kid has to fend for themselves, or you got an older sibling that has to step in a bit too much. I do believe in, older siblings helping the parents and helping, that's your sister, that's your brother, that's not your child. My children, they're not raising each other. It's not no, okay, well, I'm gonna be gone. I'm going out. I gotta live my life. I need my me time. You don't have no me time as a parent. You gotta try to find avenues to spend some alone time and focus on yourself. But when you become a mom, your focus is your children. Your focus is making sure that they have everything and that their needs are being met, and then you become secondary. And however they look in your family, that's your business, right? But I'm talking about the school to prison pipeline. School becomes less important, or the chain is broken, or for whatever reason that kid has to grow up and they don't have the resources that they need. And the next thing you know, they done stab somebody with a pencil. It ain't funny, but this is how simple it is, y'all. I'm telling no lies. This is how simple it starts. It starts in the juvenile justice system. It starts while something happened in school, or it starts where, they didn't go to school, or they got truancy, or they missed, like something so small and so, like, it might seem insignificant. It probably is like not that big of a deal. At that time, it probably wasn't. But it's that one thing that breaks that chain, breaks that level of importance, provides that insecurity, provides a little bit stability, highlights, you know, um, highlights a unmet need. Yes, you're right, Gail. It starts something so simple, and when that one thing happened, then you start seeing other things start to happen, and then they become more significant, and then they become bigger, and the next thing you know, yeah, they done killed somebody, or yeah, they done robbed the bank, or yeah, they done try to you know hit a leak, and something happened. So exactly, yeah, and the way they responded to it. So I feel like I watch these shows and I see a lot of times how they start with the interview. They start asking them about their childhood, asking them about school, and they ask them about how things are going for their, in their life. And then, you know, they often highlight that it was a struggle, or they face some kind of insecurities growing up as a kid, and that break that chain. And then the next thing you know, they on a whole nother journey down a road of destruction. And it's just so sad. But I see a lot of brothers, on these shows I watch, not nobody I know personally, but I see a lot of brothers that they were suspended excessively, they were expelled excessively, that they had behavior issues, that they were policed and criminalized, or they had parents that were in and out of jail, or they had unstable home environments, and the misbehavior was a normal practice for them. And then you know we see this, growing. We see this in our kids or in our young people that we're either driving to school, or we're passing by in the hallway, or we're teaching them a subject, or they walk strolling to our office to talk about this one thing, but then we end up on a whole nother story. But it's that little thing, that little small little break, and the next thing you know, like they're in prison for the rest of their life, and they cannot redeem, or come up out of the situation, or it just becomes too catastrophic. So, I feel like that's a whole. Now we could talk about that. We could talk about that, but that's what society want our people at, anyways. Oh man, we got 5 minutes. That's what society want our people. Yeah, girl. Or lack of some. It's just it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing, and we all have a part to play. And we just try our best. And the Wendy's and the Mimis and the Gals and the Me's in the world, it's only so much we can do, but we can try our best to address black in the classroom. We could try our best to address black in our neighborhood. We could show up black. We could show up our true, authentic selves. We can give support. We can love on each other. We can offer each other with a little bit of grace. Offer me a little bit of grace as a mom, as a friend, as a wife, and I'll do the same for you. Guess say, please 5 more extra minutes, Mr. Producer. He gave me thumbs up, y'all. We got 5 more minutes. Okay, 5 extra minutes. So my my last point that I was gonna talk, it was gonna be a call to action and moving forward. So we're gonna advocate for um our kids. We're gonna advocate for our schools. We're gonna advocate for resources. We're gonna push for more black teachers and educators and administrators, and we're gonna support each other. In whichever way we see fit. Support might look like showing work on time because somebody there waiting on you. Support might mean leaving at 5:05 because this one kid still talking about this one thing, but that's what they need in that moment. What does support look like? The support means giving that kid a ride that just missed the school bus. That happened to me in my neighborhood once while I was driving. I was driving the baby to school, and the kid, elementary, primary school, they go to school a little bit later than high schoolers. Um, y'all share this video, like the video. But the high schoolers go to school early, and the elementary and the primary schools they go to school late. And so I was driving, taking the youngest to school, and I seen this kid walking like he was walking. He was walking out past my car, and then he was walking on down the street, and he's had his book bag on, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, where he going? And so, but he was, kind of ahead of me or whatever. And so I'm in the car, and he walking out, past him. And then I stopped, and I was like, he probably finna walk to school. Like, and some in my mind, like, he probably finna walk to school. And so, I stopped the car, and then he walked up, to the car. Well, he walked up, like he was passing the car. He was on the other side of the street. And I rolled the window down, and I was like, hey, baby, you missed the bus? And he was like, yes, ma'am. And I was like, oh, okay, you walking to school? He was like, yes, ma'am. I was like, oh, well, you want to ride? And he looked. Part of him wanted to say no. I saw it in his face. Like, part of him wanted to be like, nah, I ain't finna get in no car with her. But the other part of him, like, felt the genuineness that was, coming from me. Like, because we don't live close to the high school. Ask somebody else who did something else. But anyways, we don't live close to the high school, so he was gonna literally walk to school, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, his parents probably were, those parents like you better not miss that bus again, or whatever the consequence was. We don't know. Like, we don't know these kids' story. We don't know what they're going through. We don't know what it's like. It's being a kid is different from when we were younger, and so we're trying to overcome our traumas that we went through, and we're trying to break those cycles, but we're also trying to give our kids what they really need by showing up differently than our parents did. So, he got in the car, and we rode. I took him to school, and he was like, "Thank you so much." And the baby was like, "Have a good day," because that's all that I always tell her that when she get out of the car. And so she told that to him, and he just smiled. I never seen that kid again. But it was just a warming feeling to know like somebody's always looking out, and I just hope that somebody else is out there looking out for my kids. Yes, say yes. We need more of us breaking the change of situation lack thereof. Our babies have to know we have their backs, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's right. We have to. We have to support them. Um, and I just feel like it's moments like that where we just try to show up in the best light that we can, and we just try to be our best selves to these kids because we don't know what they're going through. We were kids, and my mom said, "Well, I was 16 once too." Yeah, you were, but you weren't me, right? And I can't tell my kid I was 15 once too. Yeah, I was, but I was not you. And so that's different. Like we giving them that options and freedom to be themselves and to show up, but we also saying like, hey, I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna have you back. I need to know what's going on so I can help you, and I want that line of communication to be open, even though it's difficult. Right? It's difficult to have some of these conversations, and I stop myself from saying like, um, that my oldest is still my baby because she my firstborn. She always gonna be my baby at heart. But at the same time, like I'm respecting that she isn't a baby. I'm respecting that, and that's a big one. Like I respect my kids. I apologize when I'm wrong. I say, hey, I'm sorry for how I said it. I'm not sorry for what I said. But I'm sorry for how I said that. And that respect is a two-way street. That we have to give respect to our children, and we have to expect respect in return. And that's not always easy to do. Like it's not always easy to respect a teenager, okay? But we out here trying, and it is right, Mimi. It is very different, but it's necessary. And I think you know this generation we healing from the trauma that we went through, and it does not matter if you don't have a kid. It does not matter if you are not biological, like parent raising your biological kid. It doesn't matter if you an auntie or uncle or a friend or a godmother. Like all of those roles are important, and we need to get back to that village. Like we need to address where we are in this world. Yes, they right. Because if we miss the bus, we had to figure out we had to figure it out. I get a whipping. That was the reason enough for me to say many alarms, but seriously, it's the small things that can make a difference and make so much. Yes. Mimi say a little kid. That's right, girl. You listen. That's all right. We together. We together on the little kid crew. Like we got a little kid. We together. I got your back. You got. I got a little bit of ways ahead of you, Mimi, but it matters, and it's the whole purpose of the podcast. The whole purpose of this, when I'm doing this series, just for us to support each other. Like I know y'all tired, cause I'm tired. Okay, I know y'all holding on by a thread, cause I'm holding on by a thread. Okay, but we got this right because we love our babies. We love the little people in our lives, and we're gonna show up for them the best way we know how. We're gonna advocate for them, and we're gonna do our thing. So gotta say I was threatened before the bulls came. Listen, y'all, we used to miss the bulls. Anybody on this live lived out there in the country where we lived at, where I lived at, William Circle, the bus came down the street, went around the circle, came back, and went out the neighborhood. If we missed that bus, Miss Daughtry, which she did not slow down, not a little bit. If we missed that bus, me and my brother would run down the street to catch the bus by the time it circled about. And now this is a bus, so it got wheels. We ain't got no wheels. We on our 2 feet. And I'm not a runner. Okay, if y'all ever seen Big Mama, she does not run. We used to run down the street to catch the bus because my mom was that serious. Like, right? Yes, I had 2 opportunities to catch the bus. Miss it if you want to. You know what they say? That's your ass, Mr. Postman. All right, my producer gonna cut me off now. He say you doing too much. But anyways, this is so fun. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. It's the Unknown Empress. Y'all make sure that y'all like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We ain't trying to go viral. We just talk about real life stuff with real people who got real ish going on in their life. Okay, that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to open up a safe space for you and for me so that we can heal. We can talk about it. We can be about it. Cause we ain't gonna wait talk about it without being about it. We're gonna put purpose and passion into this thing. And it's your girl. Y'all know me. It's your Unknown Empress. I love y'all. I'm so glad you caught it too. Thank you, Gail and Wendy and Jaquetta and all my good girls. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. I tried my best, y'all. I tried. I did some hair. I did a lot of things, but I'm here. We got one more episode. We got one more episode next week. I'm going to be live next week with the last episode. I don't know the name of it. I wrote it down somewhere. And then I'm gonna get another series. Y'all tell me what y'all want to hear. Thank y'all. I love y'all. Y'all have a good night.